Yesterday, he delivered it. Today, the finance minister was out selling his budget, and Jim Flaherty touched off a heated debate over income splitting for families. The Conservatives promised they'd introduce it, but now, as Vassy Kapelos reports, the finance minister appears to be backing away from the idea.
Just as the dust of yesterday's budget was settling, Jim Flaherty stirred things up. The finance minister is breaking rank and backing away from a Conservative promise to bring in income splitting.
It benefits some parts of the Canadian population a lot, and other parts of the Canadian population virtually not at all.
The promise was originally made during the 2011 election campaign. Here's how it would work. In a couple, the higher-earning spouse is able to transfer income to the lower-income spouse, and the result is they pay less in income tax. It was to be brought in next year once the budget was balanced. But since the announcement, analysts on both sides of the political spectrum have said income splitting will mainly benefit the rich and do nothing to help the middle class.
When we discuss it eventually in Cabinet, and caucus, I'll present my analysis to my colleagues.
Flaherty's comments were immediately followed by a rebuttal of sorts from his caucus colleagues, notably Employment Minister Jason Kenney, who Flaherty has sparred with before.
We made a platform commitment and to introduce income splitting when we get to a balanced budget. We'll get to a balanced budget next year. That's very clear.
So should he remain as finance minister then if he disagrees with the policy?
We made a commitment
of Canadian families.
Later, in question period, the Prime Minister ended up taking most of the questions directed at Flaherty.
This is the government against
the opposition says the rift is significant.
The Prime Minister rose to answer the question, evaded it, and kept the Finance Minister seated for pretty well all of question period. I think Canadians can read a lot into that.
Flaherty's comments also have people asking whether he'll run again in the next election or whether the next budget will be his last. So far, no clear answer from the Finance Minister. All he said is, we'll see. Vassy Kapelos, Global News, Ottawa.